Well, hey y'all, today we're getting fertilizer put on. Got our first 2 truckloads to get us started today. They're running. I hope they don't get stuck. It's been pretty wet here the last several days. So far he done alright. He got spun pretty good one time, but he got out. Little balls of white gold. That's basically what it is, a bunch of dark buddy laying there. Me and Dad's being harassed again because we're driving old Brown. They never get us with anything, but we keep getting pulled over. Second time in 2 weeks. We live in the city now. I guess we can't even put hay out in the old truck without getting pulled over for no reason other than just because it's an old truck, not some yuppie little car. Alright, so what I've got going on now is, it's a day later. This is the control system I was talking about I ordered for my sprayer. It originally had a manual style valve on it, but the bottom of it was broken off and it was tied on with a rope. So I bought this electric solenoid system so that way I can control everything from in the cab and I can shut it off when I'm turning around. And with this booms this size that I've got on this one now, that'll help me a lot with waste and everything. And then I can cut each section off. Say I've got a little strip that I missed, I can run over it with 1 section, 2 sections, and just cut one off, or whatever I need to do. And that's why I wanted to put this on here, was to try and help save more money. The further this stuff will go, the less we have to buy and the less we have to spend. Every little bit will count. Cheaper that we can do things to produce hay, the more money we make. So I've got this system, and I've made this plate to mount it. But there's 3 solenoid valves here. On the back side is left, center, and right. And then on this end is the actual electric regulator right there. So that took the place of the old regulator. Now on this side, I put in a pressure relief valve regulator on this side, so that way when these switches are off, this water has somewhere to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this one up at a certain pressure, so that way when it goes above what the booms are set at to run, valve will kick, and then it'll recirculate it to relieve the pressure off of the system, or otherwise it would just blow out. The gauge is on that exact spot just because I needed a plug. It's really not for anything because there's a gauge in the tractor. This system has a controller that goes in the tractor, and then it reads you the pressure that's on the lines from this right here, and then the harness that's there to go inside. Now, this system actually has a funny story behind it, or not a funny story, but a story behind it. Probably a year and a half ago, before I ever started YouTube, it may have been longer than that. One night, another YouTuber, Spring Hollow, was having a live stream, and I had actually asked him about this because I come up with this idea. At the time he had his Hardy. I come up with this idea to put this kit on and do all this to this sprayer, and I was kind of trying to decide if I wanted to buy a GPS or do this for this past spring, which I decided to go with GPS. Well, this spring I'm putting this on, the other part of it that I wanted, and I'd figured out how I wanted to do all this. And I was intending on buying all this in parts and making a switch control box of my own to do it all. But I priced out everything. By the time I bought all the switches and parts from the parts store, it made one. I could just buy theirs and do it. So at the time I was planning on making one of my own and just buying the solenoids and stuff. And I couldn't figure out how to get the pressure off because it didn't tell online with their system. And I'd never used one of these solenoid deals on a sprayer. I'd always just used the old manual style that's outside. And I couldn't figure out how to relieve the pressure when these were shut. And I'd asked him because I knew he had that Hardy. and it had a system sort of like this that used solenoids and everything. I was wondering how it worked. And their system is actually different than this. It's a lot more complex, but he didn't, at the time, he didn't really, he kind of thought about it. He's like, I don't know how you do that. And he had actually thought about it a little bit, and he come up with to use a pressure regulator valve on this side. So this is actually his idea. He actually did this on his sprayer before I did, because he sold his Hardy, and he bought him another 3-point sprayer that's smaller, and he put this system on his sprayer. It's actually a carbon copy of what he did, nearly. I think there's a few hoses routed different because my sprayer was set up a little different than his, but pretty well it's the same setup that he did. But I just thought that was a interesting story, because he probably doesn't even remember it, but at the time nobody knew who I was. I wasn't even doing anything on YouTube or nothing. I was just a regular person just watching YouTube, and I asked him about it. But I thought it was a pretty cool little story. Alright, now we got to get in the tractor, and I'll show y'all how the control box works. I kind of got it put together. Let me hook it up. Alright, got her in. So, to turn it on and off, you just hit this switch. Turn it on, hit that switch. I got to set my regulator valve outside. Then you have each individual boom control. Switch it off, see the pressure go up, go down, off, down. Same thing. And then this one here is your adjustment for your pressure to go up and down on the amount that's going to the booms. When it's stuck, got the GPS back in, I got to tidy up all my wiring now after wiring this thing in. This thing, I did wire it up to where it will be taken out. My camera that's normally here so I can watch behind me when I'm baling and stuff, I took it out for now. Until I get done spraying. This is what I'll be here while I'm spraying. And then when I get done, I'll just pull all this out, the GPS and the sprayer thing, put my monitor back in. But that's it for this video. I know it's kind of been all over the place, but it's kind of how my last week and a half's been going. It's everywhere. I got about 1,000 things to do. What's coming up next will be the service on this tractor. I've got to put a PTO seal in this thing in the rear end, so y'all get to watch me do that. I'll lay it out and how to do it and everything. But well, I would have done that with this, but I just didn't quite have time. And honestly, it would have been a mile-long video if I just showed everything and how to all to do it. So I didn't do that. But I got one complaint though. These people around here where we live at are getting scary with us on tractors. I know there's a few of y'all that's local that watches me, and y'all see this and know what I mean probably. But a friend of ours was following his grandson on his tractor a while back, and they were going down the road, and he went to turn into their driveway. They'd been somewhere on the tractor, and they was driving it home. They went to turn in. It was just out down the road where they'd went. And they went to turn it back into their driveway going home, and a car come around him as he was turning in and drilled the tractor right in the side, tore the car all to pieces, but it didn't hurt the tractor. Scared the crap out of him, but it didn't hurt the tractor. That nearly happened to me, I know, 4 or 5 times last year in this 5400, just in this one tractor. One time, I swear I could not have missed them by more than an inch or two, and it scared the living crap out of me. I don't know what's got into these people around here. I mean, none of them's ever been around farm equipment that's moved in here, most of them. And when you're going down the road and you got your flashers on, and you turn your blinker on. It's not that people around here ain't using their blinkers. They are. We'll turn our blinker on, we'll start to slow down as we turn into our driveway. Say it's on the left and you're turning in instead of the right. And as we slow down, these people get so irritated when you're just a split second trying to turn in, that they try to come around you. And if if you don't look back in your mirror and make sure that somebody's not coming around you as you're turning in, just because you're idling it down to turn in, they'll hit you. And it happened to me the other day. What I was going to get into a little bit was I was in that 4710, which is another story I'll tell here in a minute. But I was in the 4710, and we had went and pulled out a fertilizer truck with it. And I was brand new tractor turning in the driveway to the left, going to pull in. And just as I was fixing to turn the wheel, last year, it's just stuck in my mind now. Every time I look up in the mirror and I see that car starting to take a left. But I'd done committed, it was turning at that point. And I'd seen them behind me. I looked behind me and made sure they're still there. And then I started turning, as I was turning in, I had a blinker on and everything. I had to look up in that mirror, and as I was starting to turn, I noticed they were starting to go left. And I jerked it back to the right, and then they come back behind me. And I throwed it in right quick in the driveway. But they went right around me back the way they were supposed to after I turned. And just, if I wouldn't have been paying attention just in that split second, they might have hit me. And it's just, I don't know what's wrong with these people around here local, but they need to learn to respect a tractor. Because I can get hurt in this thing because there ain't no really safety stuff in a tractor. And two, when you're behind a tractor, follow them, look at their lights. If they start to slow down, chances are they're turning, and you need to just wait behind them till they're out of the way, because it's just too dangerous for them, for you, and for the people driving the tractor. Now, the story behind the 4710, I wasn't there. I'd actually took this 5400 and went and pulled my grandpa out. It was the fertilizer truck y'all seen at the beginning of this video. The guy, Dad had come and stayed with him and was showing him where to go. Well, I had to go pull my grandpa out with the other fertilizer truck. They had got stuck. And I had loaded up the 5400 and left. And Dad was riding around with him, following him he was following his dad in the pickup truck. And anyway, he went off the side of a hill. There's a creek right there, and it's real steep. And for whatever reason, he drove down there. And the truck slid off the hill and was basically in the creek. And the whole front end was slid down, was the end that was down into the creek. So Daddy had to come home and get this tractor. Daddy called me. He said, Lord, he said, I hope you hurry up and get done with that one, because it's probably going to take 2 tractors to get this truck out. He had probably 4 ton or better of fertilizer still on the truck. And Daddy went and got 4710 because it was here. It's all the other 4-wheel drive we've got. So he drove it up there, hooked to him. Daddy said he pulled the whole front end of the truck around. This is straight uphill. It's a pretty steep grade. Pulled the whole front end of the truck completely around, and then drug the truck all the way up the hill. And the truck was trying to bite, and he kept sliding sideways as Daddy was dragging him up the hill. And Daddy said he couldn't believe it. He said he could not believe that it pulled that good. I wish I'd have been there, because then I could have got it on video, but I wasn't there. But he said that it tore up the ground just a little bit. It wasn't too bad. That was what he was really shocked with too. But he said it didn't, as far as power, it had plenty of power. But I wish I'd have got that on film, but I wasn't there. So, but thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe. See you next time. See you later. Remember the other day I said I was going to have a come to Jesus meeting with these Tweety birds? Alright, you. Quit pooping on my tractor. You see that? Do you see that? I don't like that. Mess with me next time, and I ain't going to turn you loose.